Yep, I did it. I once again beat another Grand Theft Auto game, and it is me, as I mentioned, playing Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. Yep, I finally gonna talk about this once for all, just to show proof that I'm not bullshitting you. Like, here you go. Here are my stats. I don't know if you can see that really well, but the Sicilian Gambit was the last mission of the game for anyone who has played LCS, and I simply want to talk about it because I have a lot to say about this game, and all I can tell you, just to kind of like get it out of the way, LCS isn't going to be my favorite Grand Theft Auto game, first and foremost. But as a prequel to Grand Theft Auto 3, which I just got done playing not too long ago, I can see why LCS was created for that reason. After all, there is a game with Vice City and Vice City Stories, which I'll assuredly get into in a little bit. But yeah, Liberty City Stories is essentially the prequel to GTA 3. It's exactly taking place 2 years before the events of GTA 3. And honestly, given the aesthetics, given that this game came out back in 2005, whereas GTA 3 was the first of its kind to come out back in the early 2000s, this game was pretty much this prequel came out like pretty late into the Grand Theft Auto series when games like Vice City and San Andreas was already out and about at that point. So going back to LCS, playing the PSP version of it, and I'm aware there's a PlayStation 2 version of the game. Um, I definitely went into it thinking that it's going to dive deep into like the lore and background of GTA 3 a lot. And honestly, for starters, to get the compliments out of the way, I really do like Toni Cipriani, the main bad character of who you control in this game, where you're rising up the ranks in the crime mafia gang that was prevalent throughout GTA 3. Case in point, you are basically Salvatore Leone's backbone. You're his henchman. You're good guy that basically the one bodyguard that he actively relies on throughout this game. And of course, before you get to meet Mr. Salvatore Leone, you go through these trials and tribulations with other little missions here and there. And I feel like what they did, like showcasing Tony and Salvatore's like relationship first and foremost, I thought was really executed super well in LCS. I think they show like how much of a strong bond these two characters were, and how again, if you remember GTA 3 and how Salvatore's like role was played in that game, you would know that Salvatore isn't a perfect person at the end of the day. He is a bad guy first and foremost, and what you would notice immediately is that he is a super paranoid person, but he does care about the people he cares about the most. And while you can argue in this game that like Salvatore makes these really heinous, outlandish, and just sometimes really questionable decisions that progress us further and further into the game, this all leads like this big epic finale where basically Salvatore is the man of the town. He controls all Liberty City, and it makes sense why, like if you recall in GTA 3, why he was the biggest, strongest, and most powerful like mafia member in the GTA franchise, at least until his eventual downfall. And of course, it isn't just diving to Salvatore Leone. We also get to dive into some pretty interesting characters that I never would expect would be dive deep to. Case in point, Maria actually makes a comeback in this game, but this time she's the complete polar opposite of what we last remember her back in GTA 3. There's also getting to know Cipriani's mother. There's also Vincenzo, who is essentially like the first person you're going to work around, but you soon find out that he's basically just a incompetent douchebag, basically. And then Donald Love. Holy shit, this fucking guy. So I've been reading a lot of lore about Donald Love and like what happened in the events of GTA 3 towards the end. And seeing this version of Donald Love in LCS, I gotta say, super 9-day difference. Like if you thought Maria's portrayal in LCS was different from GTA 3, Donald Love feels like super completely different. Like it just sounds like he basically feels like he's a dude who's just brand new to the mafia world and he's ready to get his training wheels on and start to take kick ass and take names. But then towards the very end, he makes these really bad, horrible decisions, getting caught up with the Colombians to where he eventually leaves town and doesn't come back ever again, at least until GTA 3. And what's funny about these little like characters that we come to know and love, I really was again like actually invested into this prequel to these characters and actually understanding a lot of like how some certain characters are the way they are. And I guess to wrap up the characters, Toshiko Kasen, who is a character you're going to be eventually later into the game, who's like one of the head leaders of the Yakuza clan. I feel like in Toshiko Kasen's story that happens briefly in this game, you get to meet and understand like the Yakuza clan, the origins of it, who was running it at one point before Asuka and Keiji from GTA 3 would to take over the Yakuza clan. So, with that being said, story wise, character development wise, this game was really good for its time. But I guess to throw in another compliment on the way, the weapon system in this game is really good. It's really smooth. Obviously, given that this is the PSP we're talking about, like given that this is a game that came out like over 20 years ago now, like it's surprising that it runs really well smoothly on the PSP. I have no doubt it will run really smooth on the PS2. The driving mechanics in this game also feels like it's been refined down to its bare basic essentials that you come to know from like the classic GTA games of this era. But with that being said, this is where I'm gonna throw some compliment or my compliments out the window because I have some criticisms about this game. Again, this is not a perfect game by any means, but in LCS, the thing that made GTA 3 amazing, this game right here that I played front and back amazing, is the aesthetics, the lore around it, the music. And one of the criticisms I have about LCS is I feel like the music in this game kind of sort of takes away what we kind of know and already from GTA 3, which is a damn shame considering that the music choice in LCS was actually not bad. I loved all the radio stations around, but my main criticism is the Liberty Jam radio station where it took, at least at the time, a lot of like the modern day hip hop music and put it in this game. Whereas in GTA 3's case, it was taking a lot of like underground hip hop from way back in like the 90s and such. So I feel like in terms of like radio station wise and music wise, I felt like it kind of missed the mark. Another thing that I also have to complain right away, the camera angles. Holy shit, the camera angles in this game were unforgiving. Like I understand like old GTA games are infamous for having some really bad camera angles for most games, but this feels like LCS's camera angles were like what would happen if GTA 3's camera angles were just bad even more. Like I don't know what happened with LCS, and trust me when I say like yes, you can reset your camera and pan like where your character's pointing or where your character's trying to go, but every time I go to like the ammunition station with the weapon shot and I exit out, for some reason the camera decides to go do a 360 every time I try to like get out of there. And that's not the only instance that happens too. Where if I'm exiting out of a car or a motorcycle, for some reason the camera likes to do a weird ass 360, and I'm just wondering like, okay, is my PSP broken or some shit? Because I know if I took a good care of this thing, it's still working for a reason. And then from there, you also have moments where like the bots in this game were super unpredictable, especially when you're riding motorcycles in this game. Which, mind you, when you're riding a motorcycle, it's like okay, your whole goal to get from one destination to another is to avoid upcoming traffic. But in LCS's case, for some reason, every time I rode a motorcycle, the bots, no matter what vehicle they're on, their first instinct is like, "Oh, I see a bike. I'm gonna hit you," more or less. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on here? Like, I'm not even trying to like hit the car. I'm not even trying to do it. I'm just trying to avoid them so I can get to my next destination or my next mission. And it was so goddamn annoying. And the same also can be said about the cop AI, or sorry, the cop bots in this game. I can't say cop AI because this is not an AI game, but the cops in this game were also really annoying as shit. Where whenever I was trying to get a mission done, for some reason, let's say I had like 1 star or 2 star one level, like in within that mission, right? For some reason, every time, like let's say I'm trying to drive away from the cops and I just want to, let's say, chase down a gang member or try to get to my next destination. For some reason, the cops have like this crazy ability where they just speed to my door, pull me out, and then boom, I'm busted. And it's like holy shit. And the amount of times I had to like reload my game just so I can like not lose my weapons, because in this game if you die you lose all your weapons and your entire inventory itself. And that was the most annoying thing that I also didn't like about the game and for its time. And then we go into the missions. And the missions in this game, as I've mentioned, is can be a little bit of a hit or a miss. But man, I gotta say, the second half of the game is where I actually ran into a lot of problems. For starters, the three infamous missions, at least on the PSP as of right now, with Summer 21's missions with Rough Justice, Dead Reckoning, and Shogun's Snowdown, if I'm not mistaken, this is where for the first time ever since I've had my PSP, it crashed. Not just once, but twice. It crashed my PSP and I had no idea what to do. So in order to fix that, I had to like save my game in like the second island and not save my game from the third island safe house because that's where a lot of the crashing was occurring in the game. At least for me. I don't know if it affected to anyone else who's played on the PSP, but I wanted to like throw that out there. And I gotta also say, I hate all the Dawn Love missions now after finishing this game. Like, low key, the Dawn Love missions in GTA 3 were nice, were challenging, but they were understandably challenging. In LCS's case, with all the Dawn Love missions, they were fucking tedious. Like, I'm not even joking. It's so goddamn tedious to reach from where you're at to where your Donald's at to just start the mission first and foremost. And then there are moments where it's like you have to like do certain tasks like guarding a vehicle or actually protecting Donald in most cases, and then like doing like these weird like heist missions where it's like you gotta grab something then bring it back to his place, but then you run the risk of getting shot at or getting killed. It's really tedious, and honestly, I can comfortably say these are like my least favorite missions in GTA, where you have to protect the vehicle from certain harm, but how can you when you have two, three vehicles flying so fast as fuck and you just don't know where the fuck to shoot at? And I guess I'll even say this right now. The drive-by mechanics in this game, while it does maintain like true to the original GTA games from back in the day, it felt really rough, especially when it's like, bro, I'm emptying out my fucking clips, my mags, my bullets in the cars when I'm trying to like finish a mission. And I swear to God, it takes like 90, maybe like 100 bullets to like destroy and blow up a car. It's ridiculous. There's a ton, and I mean there's a ton of side quest missions to do in this game, from street racing to RC racing to your typical vehicle missions where you could be a taxi driver, a trash man, you could be a vigilante, a firefighter, a paramedic, you can even deliver pizza or noodles in this game. There's also like a lot of these really weird side quests where you get to like go to like a scrapyard and collect points. There's also ones where you have to kill as many people in a certain area as fast as you can. And then of course, it also has like a lot of like the same like hidden collectibles that was similar in GTA 3, where you have to collect the all 100 hidden packages throughout the game, do all rampage missions, do all unique stunt jumps. And again, it pretty much ends in the way where like if you get all 100% completed, then you get to have like basically just be God at that point in LCS. And look, at the end of the day, like the amount of complaints and my enjoyment of this game was really great and it was understandable, but do I see myself going back to playing LCS at the end of the day? Sadly, no. Like, if you were to tell me which one of these two I would rather play over the other, I would choose this over this at any other day, and for an obviously good reason. Because while GTA 3 had its flaws with like some of the janky mechanics, and maybe like the story wasn't understandable to a degree for some criticisms, right? At least in the case of GTA 3, you're always going to have fun no matter what. In LCS's case, it's like once you essentially beat the entire story, you're kind of just left doing like a lot of the long-winded side quests, which can take forever, in my opinion. Especially when I even tried some of the side quest missions, and I can tell you right now that it gets really tedious really fast, especially when you're trying to get the vigilantes done perfectly, the firefighters done perfectly. In my view, it's fine. If you want to get LCS's 100% completion, go ahead. The world's your oyster. But for me, I think I'm good here. I'm done. I've now seen my ways, and I can say that this is a good game. It's definitely not the worst Grand Theft Auto game I've played, first and foremost, but for its time, given that this was released for the PSP exclusively, I think that this was a really good game for its time. So yeah, I think in my view, at the end of the day, if you really like GTA 3, if you love Liberty City of this game, then definitely go check out LCS itself. It's definitely worth playing either way if you want to know deeper into the GTA 3 lore. Because there's actually another prequel I gotta play pretty soon, which sadly I'm not looking forward to, and that one's also going to be a prequel tie into GTA 3 itself. But until then, my next games I'm planning to play from here on out are kind of a coin flip, honestly. I'm either going to play GTA Chinatown Wars next, or finally get my hands on GTA Vice City itself. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, though. LCS, at the end of the day, is a really good, really passable Grand Theft Auto game, but it's not an amazing game that can live up to its predecessor, GTA 3. But at the end of the day, it's good, it's fine, and I just simply want to talk about this a little bit. That's it. See you on the next one. Later.